All right, I want to welcome everyone to another module of the Process of SEO Masterclass. This is a series or a masterclass series on how I actually conduct SEO in the real world. This is not theory. This has been best practices and strategies, tactics that I've compiled and worked out over 15 years of doing SEO. And so what I've tried to do here in the first four modules is really explain and show you how we actually do these things, not just teach you the lessons, the principles, the tactics, the strategies, and leave it there, but actually do some actual visual demonstration, showing you how we actually conduct these things in a process. SEO is conducted within a process, really. And so what we've been doing is breaking this down at step one, step two, step three. And so our modules are really in chronological order of how I conduct SEO. And today we're jumping into module five. Module five is all about building authority with off-page SEO. And so that's one of the primary strategies, primary goals is that we have to build authority to our assets that we want to rank. And we're going to do that in many ways with off-page SEO. Quick recap of what we covered up until now. The first week in module one, we just went into foundational components of how to conduct an audit. And then we also talked about how to actually conduct and do SEO research, entity research, keyword research, competitor research, things like that. The second week in module two, we went a little bit deeper into keyword and entity research and then the content strategy, how that keyword and entity research and the data that you get from that research, how that actually bakes into your content strategy moving forward. That's really important to have that done ahead of time because you can't really move into the module five, the off-page SEO, if you don't have your keywords and your entities correct. We're not going to go back through all that. We're not going to go into a deep dive on keyword research and then using that today. We're going to just get into the basics and the fundamentals, the foundational components of off-page SEO. In module three, we went through on-page SEO. So we went into kind of a deep dive into a WordPress website. We went into page structure. We went into, I showed my blueprint or site structure blueprint that I use that we implement and how it implements it into a silo structure into a WordPress site. We talked about proper URL structure, internal linking structures, schema markup, things like that. That's a really, really important component. If you don't get this right in the beginning, you're going to have some big issues. I just released yesterday my findings on the March 2025 core update, which will date this a little bit, but the March 2025 core update was finished processing at the end of March or on March 27th, and all signs indicate that the one of the big components of the core update here in March was placing a greater emphasis on the site signals, which are all of these things here. And so if you get this wrong, you can actually see a decrease in your local map rankings along with your organic rankings because Google is placing so much emphasis on the site signals as it relates to authority and even local map rankings. The last module we went through technical SEO basics and advanced techniques, sorry. We talked about site speed, mobile optimization, crawlability, and indexing, really understanding what it means to have your site and your pages crawled, rendered, and indexed. Talked about some advanced technical components of SEO as well. And then today we're going to go ahead and just dive into building authority with off-page. There are really three main components of this module. We're going to talk about the link building basics and some safe practices or things to avoid. We're going to get into digital PR and outreach with Signal Genesys, which is a software platform that I was the founder of and sold last year to Search Atlas. So they now own Signal Genesys. I just logged in today. I haven't logged in recently. Logged in, I see they've made some changes, which is cool. But we'll talk about that. I'll also give you my blueprint that I created many, many years ago, which is still very relevant today in terms of how to use Signal Genesys to drive better rankings. And then we'll talk about some content amplification strategies that you can use just to get your content out there in more places. The whole purpose of this is that if you just create your content, bring that the intel and the data that you get from your research, and you put that into your content strategy, and you start putting out blog article content or PR content. But that content just stays resident on the target website and goes nowhere else. Then you're not going to build authority, okay? Because you've got to get that content out in multiple places, which starts to build organic traffic, eyeballs. Obviously, the bots see those different pages, crawl those different pages. If you have links, which we'll talk about today, within your content, they're going to get those links. But if it just stays on the target website, let's say on the blog or on on a news blog or something, it's just going to have a very, very muted effect, if any effect at all. The key is to take that content and to syndicate it, to amplify that content by getting it out on multiple channels, multiple other websites. And that really is part of the big process of building links. Links are really just link signals. So we have to understand that everything is a signal. We have used the term backlinks for, decades. But a backlink really is nothing more than a link signal. And there, we want to generate as many signals as we can. And digital PR is another way that we can amplify content. And with the way that we engineered Signal Genesys, it purposely generates more ranking signals in multiple ranking categories that will just simply help in your building authority process. All right. So let's dive into module 5. We're going to just kind of, what we want to just accomplish in this module is make sure that you understand how to safely and effectively build authority through off-page SEO, basically including, building links or link signals, digital PR, which also can generate link signals, social and other blog content amplification. What this will do is it'll improve a website's trust. That follows with a better rankings in both organic and local search. I'm also going to give you an appendix, a deep dive and tactics on how to build local links, because I think it's one of the most underrated, most underutilized or under-leveraged tactics in SEO to drive rankings. There is more of a manual process involved in this, in that local link building or any kind of link building, unless you use Signal Genesys or some of the things I talk about today. But oftentimes, you'll need to do a little bit of extra link building, and some local link building can really, really help. And I'll share with you that here. It's a whole appendix that I've put together for just how to leverage local links in different areas, some different strategies to get them. And they can be very, very powerful in terms of just helping you dominate the local competition when you leverage some of the things I'll teach here. Okay. So first of all, Google emphasizes natural, relevant, and earned backlinks. They don't. I mean, they really, really outlaw or prohibit purposely building links. And so, we have to understand that the whole link building component really falls into a gray, even potentially black hat component of SEO. However, there are white to gray hat, if we're going to use those types of terms, strategies that we'll talk about today that kind of fly maybe, within, in the gray areas of Google's guidelines. But some of the things that are absolutely no-goes that I would just totally avoid, we don't use these as all link farms, low quality directories, PBNs. These just are a recipe for disaster, honestly. And so we just highly avoid these types of ways to build links. They used to be, 15 years ago, you could throw any kind of link out there and the algorithm loved it. Not so today. So you just got to be really, really careful. You want high quality links. You don't want low quality. And you also want relevant links, okay? Because, let's talk about a high quality link. A high quality link is really going to be defined as a link on another page to the target website, a page on the target website. Okay, so that link on another website's page, linking in somewhere in that content to your target website and a specific page on that target website. That's a link. Now, what's a high quality link? On that page that's linking to your target page, that page needs to have traffic. that page needs to have relevant content to where you're linking on the target page or the target website. So you really want to see good traffic, and you want to see relevant content, and obviously you want to see good authority that's on that page, which you can use a couple different uh, SEO software tools to evaluate the quality of that page. But really, we want high domain authority or page authority that we're linking from. We want it to be relevant content, and we want to actually have traffic. Okay. There's a lot of links you can get out there that maybe have good domain authority or good page authority, but that page gets no traffic. And that's really a highly irrelevant link. We want links from pages that are actually getting traffic, which is one of the reasons why we use Signal Genesys, because we're getting that content out on live news sites. Those live news sites are actually getting lots of live active traffic every single day, and including those news and PR pages. And so that's one of the big things that we want to look for when we talk about high quality links is traffic and relevancy. Okay. We want to focus on relevant blogs, online magazines or news sites, certainly some local citations or business directories. We can automate a lot of this through aggregator submissions, services like Yext or Uberall. You can automate this and just kind of check that box and not have to worry about any manual work there. However, when it comes to local links, which is really going to be kind of following here, I'll talk about that. There is some manual work there. Digital PR, we're going to show you Signal Genesys. Guest posts can be fine. We really created Signal Genesys to replace guest posts. Guest posts can get expensive. Obviously, if you want high page authority with traffic and relevancy, you're going to pay probably a couple $100 potentially for one guest post on that one page. And so a guest post can be hard to scale because of the cost, which is another reason why we created Signal Genesys, because we can do it much more affordably and actually get the links, the content out on higher authority sites that are just news versus relevant blog articles. So there is a difference here, and we have to understand the difference. Digital PR is leveraging news articles, news sites, news links. Guest posts are more blog articles on relevant blogs. So Google will look at these types of links a little bit differently. So it's never bad to have a combination of them. Again, you just got to work within your budget that you have or what you're charging your clients. I think probably one of the biggest issues that I see with agencies is that they undercharge for SEO. And so they're a little bit handicapped from the word go because they're not charging enough. And so they don't have the budget to work with to, maybe always do digital PR, maybe add in a couple of guest posts a quarter or every 6 months or so, buy some links if need be, things like that, because they just simply don't have the budget because they're not charging enough. No one should be charging anywhere less than $1,500 a month for SEO. I mean, that's like the very low end. If you're doing it right, the way I'm teaching it here, it's worth easily $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, depending on how much content you're putting out every month, how many themes you're trying to build authority for. That's pretty much how the things that we use to drive budget pricing or levels of SEO that we're providing. Okay, so one of the biggest components of building links and just understanding best practices around links is just understanding the difference between a DoFollow link and a NoFollow link. And it's very simple, but you have to understand this difference. And if you don't, you're kind of flying blind when it comes to links. DoFollow links, it's the default type of link. When we actually put a link into a website, it's by default going to be a DoFollow link unless we mark it up with a tag that say NoFollow. What's the difference, or why DoFollow versus NoFollow? Well, a DoFollow link is going to actually pass page rank, or what we might call link juice. So when there's a DoFollow link, the bot, when it crawls and sees that link, it's going to pass any authority that page has to the linked source, okay, to the target page that we're linking to. Now, PageRank is diluted for every DoFollow link you have on a page. And so if there's one DoFollow link on a page, the rest are NoFollow, then the bot is going to assign 100% of the authority that that page has to the source link page, okay? If you have 3 links on that same page that are all do follow, then each link will get 33 and a third percent of the link equity or link juice, and that passed through to those pages. And so if you want to pass the most authority to one page from one do follow link, then only use one do follow link on your in your content. Understand that every time you add a link, by default, it's going to be a do follow. You have to purposely mark it up as a no follow if that's what you want. But a lot of the sites that you get links on by default are going to be marked up as no follow. It says press releases here. And yes, on a majority of the news sites, even if we mark up the link as a do follow in Signal Genesys, sometimes the sites will override that and still add the no follow markup or tag attribute to the link anyway. Obviously, Wikipedia, other major media sites do that. Sponsored posts can do that. So understand that sometimes our do follow links can still be changed and marked up as no follow. We do have sites in the Signal Genesys syndication network that do retain the do follow attribute. So that's just an important component. If we want to pass authority or page rank, we must have it as a do follow link. If we have it as marked as a no follow link, no authority, no page rank will be passed. And there are purposes for both do follow and no follow links. When we're developing content, we typically only have 1 or 2 do follow links in our content. All the other links are marked up as no follow. That's really important. Okay. Why this matters again is because if you have 10 links in an article, which could be easily achieved, I mean, there's no problem with having 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 links in an article, depending on the length of the article. But if you just left all those articles at default to do follow, then you're only going to send 1/10 of the authority to each of those target pages, and then oftentimes we're only putting in 1 or 2 links actually to the target website, target pages that we're trying to actually build authority to. The rest of the links are links to wiki pages or maybe a relevant magazine article or what have you, and we don't want to send page rank or authority to those links. We only want to send page rank to the pages or the other assets, digital assets that we want to rank. A digital asset could be a LinkedIn profile. A digital asset could be a Reddit account. A digital asset could be an image or a video. It can be any one of those things, and we may want to rank images. We may want to rank a video on page 1. We may want to really drive authority to our LinkedIn profile so it does appear high for the personal brand name or the entity brand name. Those are all reasons to send do follow links to those types of digital assets, but we typically only put 1, maybe 2 do follow links in any of our content as a default SOP so that we don't dilute the link equity or page rank to 5, 10 different links. And it's always important that if you're linking out to a wiki page or a news article, magazine article, what have you, maybe a relevant YouTube video, that you mark those up as no follow, because you don't want to send page rank or authority to somebody else's assets, right? You just want to use those for relevancy and potentially other authority. Google will still see the no follow links. They're just not going to pass page rank. And so we can use a no follow link to a wiki article to actually create relevancy and potentially borrow on some of the authority that the wiki article has by tying it to our article with a no follow link. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. No follow links with help with traffic exposure and entity trust, especially when it comes from a high quality or high authority site like a magazine site or a wiki site or what have you. Okay, so a natural link profile is going to include both do follow and no follow. Remember that. We want to have a natural link profile. We certainly don't want to have all do follow, and we don't want to have all no follow. So just, it needs to be varied, and there's reasons why we want to use do follow versus no follow in our content. Hopefully by now, after covering this, you understand that. All right. Digital PR, we're going to just talk about kind of the white hat method in using Signal Genesys to create press releases and use the platform and the distribution network to really create do follow links, no follow links, brand mentions, um, and capitalize on the authority and the high relevancy of today that news articles always carry. Um, all right. So, and one of the things to understand is that when we engineered Signal Genesis, and I don't follow up with the guys at Search Atlas now, very often in terms of finding out what they're doing in terms of new or things like that. But when we engineered it originally, we did engineer it to put or insert or implement schema within the code. You don't have to do anything as a Signal Genesis user to insert the schema as part of the platform service. Really, what you're in charge of as a user of Signal Genesis is the content strategy. So making sure that you have good keyword, entity, and competitive research. You're taking that data and intel, baking it into your content strategy. That content strategy comes into the form of a PR. We never want to dilute our articles, whether they be blog articles or PR articles, with more than one theme in an article. So let's take a roofing company as an example. We don't want to write an article and include both roof repair and roof replacement in the same article. Those are two different themes topically, and we want to drive high relevancy with all of our content. And so all of our content needs to be singularly focused on one topical theme. Okay. It's really, really important strategy just to keep high relevancy within your content. And then obviously, if you've got the research done, you're going to have really good keyword usage, really good entity usage within your content. You're going to use the brand name. Brand SEO is extremely important in digital PR, is going to be very effective in helping to get brand mentions and build brand name authority around the brand keywords. So make sure you put the brand name in your PR, in your blog articles, but especially in your digital PR components, because that's going to really help to drive brand name recognition and brand authority. That translates into more keyword rankings as well. And the companies that don't have, or the entities that don't have really good brand name recognition, brand authority within the algorithm, typically also really struggle to rank for the related keywords. And so building brand authority is a really, really good outcome of using digital PR on a regular monthly basis. Okay. Instead of going through how to write a really good press release, I'm going to give you this whole ranking blueprint. I've got multiple videos that just go into much greater depth on how to use Signal Genesis, how to write great content. There's an entire SOP here on how to optimize PR article content with 13 different tips on how to really, really spruce up that PR with as many signals as you can possibly generate within one given PR and the distribution that happens as a result from using Signal Genesis. But really quick, when you go into Signal Genesis, you're gonna obviously have a couple of steps there. You got your content here. You're gonna have your headline, your summary, your images, your blog article. So we engineered this too because some of the news sites actually have separate places for different headlines and summaries and things like that. And then you have your actual body of the PR. And then you actually have your anchor tags and links down here that are marked up as either no follow or do follow, which we just covered. Okay. So you want to make sure you can see here, we only have two links marked as do follow. All the rest of them are no follow. Exactly what I was just teaching. Also really good for me to see that my team is following my SOPs here and doing what we're supposed to do here with the usage of do follow versus no follow attributes. Okay. So instead of going into all of this here, you can just the follow the blueprint here on how to just insert as many signals as you can within the PR. What I wanted to show you here was just basically step three. You have now a bunch of different options. I don't know if you're going to see all these. We had a demo account that was used, but you're going to see a lot more options for distribution. And you can use that distribution obviously to build authoritative links, signals, both do follow, no follow, and also just get high relevancy. what I would recommend doing here is only using like a couple of these for one press release, and then go back in, use a different news service, and slightly change the PR so it's a different piece of content. It's not all exactly the same. With AI, now this is very, very simple and easy. You can go in and you can create multiple versions of one PR, send one version off to one set of media news outlets, set version two, send that off to maybe one or two other outlets, and then version three out to another couple outlets. That's going to be a highly effective way to use this and leverage AI to do this, okay, without it being super time consuming. So they do have some different new options I've heard. The link builder and signal boost option. Um, so you can get some explanation from them if you want on this, but you can see there's little tool tips here when you utilize or leverage these features here. The signal boost does work from what I've heard, so you may want to try testing that out as well in your digital PR usage or a digital PR component of your overall SEO amplification content strategy. Okay, so digital PR. Also, one of the things that's unique is that every entity in Signal Genesys gets its own media room. You can take that media room, create some quick code here, and sorry, we can come in and create the media room code and take this code and embed it right on a new page on a client's or the target website's call it the newsroom page, the media room page, embed this code on it, publish it, you're done. This code then runs the media room, and that media room is a very, very sophisticated integrated newsroom media room that helps with sourcing the PR content directly to the target domain and website versus having it be sourced out on a PR company's newsroom instead, whereby then they then steal all the authority that comes from that press release because it appears first on the PR company's newsroom instead of the target website's newsroom. Well, with Signal Genesis and this newsroom or media room integration, you can now put the media room directly on the client or target's website, and then the PR gets published there first, and therefore that newsroom becomes the canonical or the original source of the content versus a PR company. And so that's also a unique feature. Highly recommend that you use the branded integration component or branded integration media room for every single SEO campaign you have. That integrated media room is very powerful. So is the tier two hosted domain media room that you can also set up. Okay. Highly recommend you use that. Again, there's plenty of tutorials in here around that, and then also how to use blogs and media rooms together. So I'm not going to go into all that because I've already done tons of tutorials here, and just a lot here on each. All of this goes into your content strategy. So it's important to understand these things because it ultimately gets baked into how you develop and produce your PRs for Signal Genesis. Okay. The other big thing, and I talk about it in the blueprint, is understanding EAT, but usage of Signal Genesis for and the digital PR strategy will help improve your EAT signals for Google. Okay. We automatically set up authorship. That was also part of the engineering of the software. So that authorship is set up because you cannot fire EAT signals without authorship. Okay. Anonymous content does not fire one EAT signal at all. There are no EAT signals in anonymous content. Okay. Without a specific individual person assigned as the author of the content, there are no EAT signals. So you got to have authorship in order to have EAT. Okay. There is no EAT without authorship. Understand that's very, very important. And we talked about how to set up authorship. I think it was in module 3, how to set up authorship on a WordPress website to ensure that all content on the WordPress site is assigned to an individual author, which then helps improve your EAT signals. Okay. All right. Content amplification. So besides digital PR, we can amplify our blog content. And every single WordPress site automatically comes with an RSS feed. So if I go to the marketingcoe.com, I believe it's just RSS. It might be feed-RSS. We'll see here. Can't remember, but yep, there it is. Okay, so there's the RSS feed. This RSS feed automatically updates every time a new blog article is published to the blog on the Marketing Center of Excellence. So every time that a new blog article is published, this feed is updated with that new blog article. Okay. What we can do is we can take this feed right here and we can use a service like either make.com or ifttt.com, and we can trigger automatic syndication of the blog content to other high authority blog accounts, and the RSS feed will be the trigger. So every time the feed is updated with a new blog post, the feed triggers, and using Make or our IFTTT and connecting the other accounts, we can then automatically publish that same blog post to blogger.com, medium.com, reddit.com, tumblr.com, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And that is what we call content syndication. Now, you can syndicate content to literally probably, I'd say hundreds, many hundreds of different types of online blogging platforms, but there's only really a handful of ones that are worth, in my opinion, syndicating to because they have real authority. Blogger is an obvious one. Medium, and the ones I just named, Medium, Reddit, Tumblr, Quora, LinkedIn. We can syndicate our WordPress blog content to all these other places automatically. So we don't have to do it manually, which is very, labor intensive. So use make.com or IFTTT, and you can then automate all of this. And then once it's set up, once that syndication network is set up, all you have to do is then just publish new blog content, and automatically original blog article goes to the original target blog, blog role, if you will, in a specific blog category. The RSS feed is updated here, and that automatically then triggers the new syndication to happen or to fire off on all those network high blogging authority accounts. And so, I think we set up about 6 of them: Reddit, Tumblr, LinkedIn, um, Blogger, Medium, I think Quora. Those are about the top 6. And then we syndicate content there. Okay. And you can automate that through the IFTTT or Make. But that is what we want to talk about in terms of syndicating or amplifying our content. So we can use the RSS feed, and then we can also repurpose content into social media posts, short form videos, infographics. With AI now, guys, it's so easy. You can just, literally prompt the AI to rewrite the article in a short form social media post, a short form video, or reel with some of the other AI content, AI video content tools that are out there. And then we can share it. And again, you can use Make or IFTTT to even share automatically into these types of accounts, right? So there's tons of automation tools out there. So don't do all this manually, but it is important. This is a kind of a one-time setup. So we do this setup in month 1 of a new SEO campaign. We create the high authority blog accounts. We connect them using IFTTT or Make, and we trigger off of the RSS feed, and we're done. Once that's set up in the first month, then going forward, all new blog content automatically gets syndicated. You can double down on that and also syndicate then using some AI tools and some automation tools to connect, rewrite that blog content into short form content, and then automatically post it out to social. Make sure that when you're posting on social, that you're posting a link to the original blog article or the original press release on the target website. Don't just put a social post out there with no link. Now, we know that if you put a link in the actual post caption, that the social platforms tend to kind of suppress those types of posts. So put the link to your original blog article in a comment, in the first comment in the post. But you want to drive traffic from social to your blog article, to your press release, to your service page, to your location page. So leverage social to drive traffic. Don't just social post with no purpose there. The purpose of social signals is to drive a link click to the target website and produce some dwell time on that website from that referral click from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or what have you. Okay, so that's really, really important. If you're going to post to social, that you actually do it with a purpose to drive for more SEO is to drive traffic to your target pages. Okay. These are the types of links to prioritize. Editorial. If you can earn an editorial link, it's the highest earned link you can get. Okay. So if you can get an interview from somebody in either a local TV station, a local magazine, a national magazine, national TV station, whatever, and they interview you, they do an editorial write up about you, your company, whatever, and they put a link, a do follow link in that article to any page on your site. That's the highest value link you can get. It's always going to be earned, which is why they're also hard to get. Okay. Guest posts are very high. They're great when they're posted on authoritative domains with traffic, with relevant content. All right, those are the two kind of caveats to guest posts. Local directories, digital PR, we talked about that. Resource pages will include our local pages in these as well, and a little bit different type of link. And then I got the whole appendix here on how to actually do that. We'll just quickly go through this. I'm not going to go through it in detail because I'm going to give it to you as someone who's invested in this course. But there are phenomenal links that you can get that have very high value from local types of relationships. And so obviously we can get local citations. We have to make sure those citations are actually crawled, rendered, and indexed. And so if the citation exists, but Google doesn't see it, you don't see it in search results, then you have to do some indexing strategies or tactics on it to make sure that that citation actually shows up and Google is aware of it. Local business relationships are probably the most underutilized, underleveraged opportunity to get very good, valuable links. And there's all sorts of ways you can do this, right? You can offer to do a PR jointly with affinity partners. If you're a roofer, you've got almost every other contractor except the roofing company are going to be potential affinity partners, referral partners, right? Well, offer to do a press release with a couple different affinity partners, and then all the affinity partners also take the press release with the link in it to your site, and they put it on their page, their site as well. And then you do a Signal Genesys distribution for it, and everyone is happy because everyone was mentioned. Everyone got brand mentions in a press release that got picked up and published on, 50, 70, 80, 100, 200, whatever different website news sites. And then they all want to publish that same press release on, and they should, on their own website. And by doing that, you automatically get a link to, everyone gets a kind of a link exchange, so to speak, amongst 1, 2, 3, 4 different affinity partners in a local business area. So that's an easy way to help 2, 3, 4 different businesses all win together. They're all going to help each other. And with a PR, everyone kind of gets some recognition. They all are very eager to post that type of PR content on their website, and that immediately creates that link. Okay. All right. So we want to buy links. We don't want to buy links. Do we want to buy links? Do we not want to buy links? Well, you can sponsor a local youth baseball team, get a link on their website and with your logo and a link to your website on the youth baseball team website, and you just got a link. Did you buy it? Yeah. You sponsored the team for $500 for the year, and they put a link on their website, and you bought that link. Or you didn't. You sponsored the team, and you got a free link. Okay. You get my point here, right? You're not really buying the link. You're sponsoring a youth team. You're sponsoring a church. You're sponsoring a nonprofit, a charity. All of those types of websites typically have really good high local relevancy and local authority. If you can get a link on any types of those, a church website, a sports team website, a school website, a nonprofit website that are in the local area, you are going a chamber of commerce, one of the best ones you can get. What do? You got to pay to join the chamber. You get a link on their website, right? Those are very, very valuable, high value um, links to get, and they're very easy to get by just doing sponsorships here and there or what have you. So obviously, you can engage with local media, local bloggers, local magazines, local news outlets. Just engage with them. Are you looking for any content? We're a roofing company. If there's a storm that blows through, and you need an expert roofer. We'd love to, be a source for you. Just build relationships there. The company owners should be doing this on their own. But agencies oftentimes need to just consult, advise their clients to do this. It's not super hard. You can have the office manager send emails and make some phone calls to local media outlets, local bloggers, and just always be there as a potential source if they want. You'll be surprised that oftentimes you'll get a call, you'll get an email saying, "Hey, we're looking for some content or a story on X, Y, and Z," and you're like, "Yeah, we'd love to do that." Boom, you get a local earned link. Really, really valuable. Create local linkable assets, join local associations, chambers of commerce, Rotary, BNI, what have you. You get links. Those are always very valuable. I just talked about it. Work with schools, offer a local scholarship with a school, $1,000, a year to, two different great students. They each get $500 scholarship for college. Boom, you get a backlink, a permanent backlink on that school's website forever because you are offering their students a very small scholarship. But hey, again, are we buying the link or are we providing, value and sponsorship opportunities in our community? You be the judge. Either way, it's a high value link and it's very, very easy to do and get. And you'd be surprised at how many of your competitors do not even do any of this, right? They're completely off. This is just off their radar completely, and they don't do any of this. And just a few links from local resources can make all the difference. Literally, it can make all the difference in the world between ranking number one and ranking on page two. So if we're going to get links, we want relevancy and authenticity. Relevancy can be either content relevancy or geo relevancy, meaning it's locally relevant. We want to build relationships with these potential sources. We want to create value creation. Like I said, if you offer to do a PR for 2, 3 other businesses in the local community, they're all affinity partners. You all can refer business to each other. If you're you're the business that comes with the idea and you say, why don't we do a press release? Boom, you're going to get links, several links, and you're going to add value to your affinity partners. You'll probably get referrals from it as well. It's just, these are really, really good ways to build local authority and really dominate by just using local sources. So anyway, go identify some potential backlink opportunities. Guest post, digital PR, local, like I just went through, and go get them. Write an outreach pitch to a local or a national outlet and see if they have any interest in. If you don't get up to bat and swing, you're never going to get these opportunities. Yes, Signal Genesys was created to help remove a lot of manual processes in creating link signals. However, it's not a magic bullet. So sometimes Signal Genesys will not do everything that you need it to do, and you're going to need to do some of these things just to move the needle ever so slightly. But all you need to do is get 1 or 2, maybe 3 new local links, and boom, you'll see the needle just pop. Okay? So don't underestimate these. Track your backlinks. These are highly valuable. If you're doing this for another business, this manual work is highly valuable and you should be paid well for it. Okay? But these are the things that encompass off-page SEO. There are things that we can do in a more automated way that amplify our content, that syndicate our content, that help us build link signals. But sometimes there's no substitute for the unique manual phone calls, emails to try and just get a few local links. Okay, and that's why I did a kind of this appendix on how to really go deep with local resources, because these are so underutilized and they're so very powerful. So hopefully this little appendix here really helps you blow it out of the water for your clients if you're an agency, if you're a local business. These are super easy to implement, And all you need, again, is a couple of local links that can really make all the difference in the world for your SEO campaign and the outcomes you're looking for in terms of ranking on page one. All right, this completes module 5. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out and let me know. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.